Hey everyone, it's Snoo here, and I am going to post a video explaining what was, in my opinion, the most lucrative farming strategy that 3.15 had to offer this season of Expedition, which is coming to a close now. But I think even if you're watching this after this season, you're going to find some useful information, mainly because it looks like there's not going to be any major shifts that we know of to the farming meta, at least in respect to them like buffing Atlas passives. I do admit I haven't taken a close look at these patch notes just released like super recently, but what I do know is that Beyond is on the Atlas, and when Beyond is on the Atlas, then Beyond nodes on I'm sorry, Beyond is on the Xana mods, is what I meant to say. And so, the fact that Beyond is on the Atlas as well means that's going to be a tremendous synergy that we did not have the opportunity to take advantage of this league. And yet, Beyond in Glennet Cairns was, by most people's accounts, the major juicers in the league. From all the information I saw on the internet, basically, it suggested that it was probably the most lucrative farming strategy that you could do. Triple or quadruple juicing Beyond. And which map was the best map in Glennet Cairns? I mean, that's a little bit more conjecture there, but I'll tell you this, some way earlier on the season, I had all of my T14 and T16 maps priced around 14 15C to sell in bulk. They virtually never sold at that price, but I slowly lowered it down, and once I got down to around 12 or 13 CFPs, I started getting messages. I started getting messages for the Canyon map and Precinct. And then what happened shortly after that, the next week or two, as I was selling those two maps pretty easily, the Canyon and the Precinct did this. They switched. And everyone was running the Precinct, and everyone stopped running the Canyon. And I think the reason that is because Precinct is a better map due to Saint's Treasure being on there, and the synergies that you can put forth with doing Beyond and Strongbox farming, especially with certain Sextants, which we'll get into. Everyone was farming the Precinct for the Saint's Treasure card predominantly. It is still a pretty good map. It's got some dead ends. It's still fairly open. And terrible for Delirium Mirror, but otherwise it's pretty nice. Got multiple bosses too, which is nice for a variety of reasons. Yeah, and so I'm going to explain basically the various different things you can do in Precinct in Glennet Cairns. I have already posted some videos between semi-juicing, light juicing to mega juicing and insane juicing, and this will be the last video I make this season about Precinct because it's going to be taking all of the information I've gathered from online, from various discords, from various other videos, from chats and everything, and it's going to take all of my own personal experience in a variety of different juicing methods, everything between Alk and Go to 3x per map invested. And I'm going to try to take the best of all of that and come up with the most lucrative farming strategy out there. I am staking my claim in saying this, but I understand there are probably a few little tweaks that could be done to this to make it even better, potentially. And even in this video, I'll admit one or two of those. So, why is it the most lucrative farming strategy? Well, Harbinger was the season before this in Valdo's Rest, and then they nerfed it to the ground. And Nemesis 3 was the name of the game last season, and it's the name of the game this season, especially with Nemesis being on the Xana mod this season. Next season, again, in respect to how this strategy this season can carry over to next season, just flip Beyond to Nemesis. Now you're going to be rolling Nemesis on your maps, and you're going to put it Beyond in the Xana mod. Or if you're super lucky, you can get Nemesis and Beyond and double up the Nemesis that way. I mean, the Beyond that way. But anyway, that remains to be seen. I'm looking forward to it. You know, Beyond may not be the most lucrative thing. We do have Uber Legions, Uber Blights, and Breach. But you know, and so farming those things may be the most lucrative thing to do, perhaps the whole season. Probably will be the most lucrative thing to do early in the season. But the tried and true method of Nemesis 3 combined with just stacking as many rare monsters on the map as you possibly can, usually via Beyond, is going to be a very good way to make currency. Make no mistake about it. Unless, you know, Scourge happened to be like this amazing thing. People thought Expedition logbook farming was going to be like the be-all end-all. In the end, it canned out a little short on that. So, you know, I suspect a similar thing will happen this next season. So with that out of the way, let's get into some of the details. Okay, so we got Watchstones and Sextants. A couple of the big things to point out. Most zones require you to have specific types of watchstones. Take Lyra Theme, for example. You need to have Chayula. Absolutely must have Chayula, right? You need to have Chayula times 4. If you're going to farm Chayula down there, if you're going to do Blight, you need exotic watchstones. If you're going to do Hayward Hamlet, you need the whatever, the Ritual or the Harvest watchstones. If you do New Vastir, you're going to have the Legion, Templar, or Mariketh, ones like these. You gotta have these, right? Look at that Sextant thing on that, it was unbelievable. I'm not even gonna end up using that Sextant before the league ends, which is pretty sad, but for the sake of pumping out the content I want to push out before the league ends, that is what it is. And then you have Glennick Cairns, which Glennick Cairns is what? It's Beyond, right? It's all about Beyond. So people will swear up and down about the Beyond Platinum Watchstones. Fraught Platinum Watchstone. 1% more Beyond on the map, times 4. Gives you a grand total of 4%. Not 5%. It gives you 4%. I mean, that's nothing to sneeze at, but I'm sorry to say that's not really that amazing. Especially in respect to how valuable the Sextants are. The other one is, what is it, like Demon's Platinum Watchstone. I don't know. It was a secondary one, generally thought of to be slightly inferior to the Fraught one. I think it said Beyond portals, they're more likely to spawn an additional Beyond monster. Anyway, there's plenty of Beyond that you can get on the map. You get 13% rolled on a map, cranks up to 16% with Secrets of the Stone. You get not 6 but 8% via Sextant if you're doing a Maven Elevated Sextant. And then you get 3% from the Atlas passive already. So that's already triple Beyond. And in the end, my maps have 29% Beyond on them when it's all said and done. And next season, they may have 42% Beyond, I guess, next season. So having that 1% on the Watchstone is not super important. So you don't have to stress out too much about the Watchstone. That's the moral of the story of this video, kind of, is that you got to put way more stress on the Sextants than you do the Watchstones. And let me kind of show you what I'm running here. I am running... So because I am running Strongbox, of course, there's 3 things I'm going to be farming. Divine Orbs via 6 links, Exalted Orbs via Nemesis 3, or just really high-level currency, and Saint's Treasure. This Sextant is 100% devoted to Saint's Treasure. And it's a whopping 600% increased item quantity from monsters that spawn from the chest, not from the chests themselves, but the monsters, which makes up a huge number of the monsters on the map, especially with Monstrous Treasure procced on the map. And that combined with a winged Divination Scarab is upwards of 1,500 extra Divination quantity from monsters on map. It makes a huge difference in terms of how many Saints Treasures drop in the map, and that's why that Sextant is there. Let's move down here. Nemesis 3, absolutely mandatory. You can have Nemesis 4 if you got super lucky. Unfortunately, that Sextant roll is extremely expensive and probably not worth it. So this is the one you usually have to roll yourself or buy in small quantities, which is reasonably priced in the smaller quantities. I'll get into the pricing later. I recommend 8% Beyond, not 6%. Because if you're someone who puts a great deal of emphasis on having Fraught Watchstones, then you would put a great deal of emphasis on having 8% beyond. Why not have 8% beyond? I mean, there's virtually no reason to settle for 6%. Especially when you can just buy the Watchstone. You don't have to use the Watchstones I'm using. I have 3 of my own Watchstones, and they are terrific Watchstones. They're absolutely gold. This one's actually the worst of the 3. Imposing Merchant's Tier 1 with Tier 1 of wealth is absolutely phenomenal. I have 30% extra rarity. Actually, it's going to be 36% or something like that for Secrets of Stone, which is going to make a big difference on the number of Exalted Orbs I make. Not a big difference, but a small difference. And this one, I'm going to be spawning tons of Beyond Bosses. Going to give you I'm going to have basically a Nemesis 1 on Beyond Bosses expansion. It's going to be nice. Chests have 35% increased item quantity. Is actually not a big deal. The suffix on this Watchstone is way more valuable than the prefix. And I didn't really know that until I started playing and juicing a lot more. And that's because, what do chests actually drop? It's not like they drop anything special, except Diviner's Lock Strongboxes do drop, a lot of Divination cards, and this does impact that, so it's nice. But really, it's just sixlings. It's just all about sixlings. And under normal circumstances, I would say that's nice, 35% more sixlings from chests, right? But what we're gonna find is that most of my sixlings do not come from chests. They come from Beyond Bosses, and that's because of the 4th and final Sextant. Unique bosses drop corrupted items. You have to look around pretty hard on the internet to find people talking about this Sextant in particular. People talk all the time about these other 3 Sextants, of course. Everyone knows these are super premium Sextants, and they cost a lot of money to buy if you just buy a Watchstone on trade and do that. But they don't talk about this one, which actually has a high weighting, 500. This one has a weighting of 250, 250, 250, 500. This one's easier to hit. You can hit this one on your own. And the thing is, with the Watchstones, you do have to hit one of your Watchstones. You cannot buy all 4. And the reason is because when people craft particularly elevated Watchstones, they are not crafting... They're only crafting 3 different kinds, and I will show you right here. A huge collection of different Watchstones. They are crafting Territories Unknown, which you see right here. I have one. They're crafting Booming Populaces, like this. And they're crafting Irresistible Temptations, like this, right? So, if I didn't get Beyond from my own elevated Sextant roll, I could just use this. What do you think this costs? It costs 2x. This Watchstone costs 2x. Pretty standard price for this Watchstone. Unbelievably cheap, in my opinion. Nobody's buying them. I don't know why. People roll these Watchstones to hope to hit Harvest, or maybe Nemesis 4. They don't hope to hit Beyond. It's just sort of this mediocre roll. In their opinion, they try to sell the Watchstone off or make a marginal profit, and I pick it up for 2x. And all throughout the season, you could have done the same. Let's see. And Booming Populace does cost a little bit more. It costs... Basically, Booming Populace is like twice as expensive as the other 2. If you want to buy Nemesis 3, stock them up in one of these types of Watchstones, Nemesis 3 will cost you half an Exalt on an Irresistible Temptation or Territories Unknown. Between half an Exalt and 1 Exalt. Usually half an Exalt is what I bought them for. It'll cost you 1 Exalt, maybe slightly more if you do it on a Booming Populace. By the way, Booming Populace, very important Watchstone. It's actually the only Watchstone I think is really important, because it increases pack size. Pack size, big deal. With this strategy. It kind of goes without saying. I think you know why. Through Strongbox, it increases the pack size of the Strongbox monsters, increases pack size on the map, results in way more Beyond Bosses. So, there you have it. You got 6 links from Beyond Bosses and chests. We got Exalted Orbs from just all sorts of rare, just massive number of rare monsters. And we got Saints Treasures, which will primarily drop from the monsters that spawn from Strongboxes via 1,500 times the number of divination cards modified onto those monsters. What's the synergy between them? Why go for all 3? Why not just focus on one in particular? Well, I'm going to explain that. Nemesis 3, of course, is kind of the the trademark. It's the one that everyone understands really well. You know, you put Beyond has a synergy with Nemesis 3. Put Beyond on the map, you get way more rare monsters, and therefore you get way more currency through Nemesis 3. And then, of course, you're going to want to pair that with Beyond if you can. If you have room for it on the Sextants, which, in my opinion, being the most lucrative farming strategy of the season, mandatory. At very least 6% to do that in this zone in particular. And so you have Nemesis 3 combined with Beyond on the Atlas, combined with Beyond from the Sextant and from the maps. And then unique monsters drop corrupted items. The synergy there is that you're getting your double Beyond, triple Beyond, counting the Beyond rolled on the map. So it's on the map, it's on the Sextant, and it's in the Atlas. And it's on your Watchstone if you're doing fraud, so that could be quadruple Beyond. But anyway, you're getting tons of extra Beyond monsters, upwards of maybe 100 Beyond monsters per map or more. You're getting way extra corrupted items. And you're gonna get some 6 links out of it, like guaranteed on the map. You're gonna get some 6 links. Like, there's no guarantee that you do a map where you run a map and you get a 6 link from a chest. It's just the drop rate's not high enough to say you're guaranteed to get one. You are guaranteed to get at least a few from this. That's how often they drop. Guaranteed. I had one map where I got 27 6 links. The vast majority of them were from Beyond monsters. I've had some maps where I got as few as like 6, but I always got at least like 5 or 6. Okay. So, massive synergies there between the Nemesis 3 and the 6 links. These 3 Watchstones in particular. The Sextants in particular. The pack size, of course, that's going to be big. And of course, you know, my Watchstones do have synergies paired up with that too, but I don't think they're nearly as important as the Sextants. What about this Sextant here? Now, if you were to drop one of these Sextants, it would probably be this one. And you would just completely forego farming Divination cards. You just say forget it. But you don't really want to do that because you have Strongbox on here. You have Strongboxes are corrupted and at least rare for free on the Atlas. 25% chance to be guarded by an additional pack of monsters. That's huge. Area contains an additional Strongbox. 10%, 1 in 10 Strongboxes will be opened twice, not once. So you're getting huge synergies from this already. And so this Sextant in particular, the one thing that it makes it lesser Sextant is there's no direct synergy between this Sextant and Beyond or Nemesis 3. So in terms of farming up more Diviner Orbs or Exalted Orbs, there is no synergy to speak of. With the exception of the very, very, very low chance that you just randomly get an Exalted Orb from a monster. That has nothing to do with Nemesis 3, but it just happens to drop via all that extra quantity. There is a tiny synergy there, but it's nothing really special. This Sextant is just basically exclusively there because there's a good Divination card that drops. And I would highly recommend using this Sextant on any map that has a good Divination card. Saint's Treasure, isn't one of the best. It's not a doctor card, it's not the nurse, it's not Abandoned Wealth or something, but it is still a really good card. And it's worth putting this on there for that card, in my opinion. So that is basically how the synergies work. And as you can see, it's just not that important to have very specific Watchstones. Look, the Irresistible Temptation and Territories Unknown, they're good Watchstones in their own right. Yes, they may semi-brick your map, giving you an affix that you can't handle, and you do have to consider that for your build. But they do boost the quantity of the map and rarity because part of the affix includes the quality, the quantity and the rarity that affix is inherently given. So you do get some bonus there. It's quite nice. Booming Populace, in my opinion, is the only one that you really must have. It's going to result in way more, it's going to be bigger packs that just spawn on the map, but more importantly, bigger packs that spawn from the Strongbox. Strongboxes in this zone can already spawn an entire screen full of monsters or more, and it's just increasing that by 20% is profound in a huge way. So it's absolutely premium. As you can see, I have 4 of these ready to go. So let's talk about the Scarabs and the maps. I rolled every single map. Because Nemesis 3 and beyond monsters, the quantity isn't super important. Quantity does matter for the Divination cards, but it's kind of trivialized with the 600% quantity mod from the strong boxes. So quantity is not a huge deal. It's more important that I'm able to put a Delirium Orb on the map to get more monsters out there. And I chose the Foreboding Delirium Orb. It's my favorite one so far. I feel like it's just great bang for your buck. Super easy on the bag space. And because it's just shards. If you shards dropping, get a lot of Exalted shards. I think it pays for itself. Just from the shards it drop. In many cases it does. It can also drop Harbinger Scarabs. I've seen as high as Gilded Harbinger Scarabs from it. I think I might have even seen a Winged Harbinger Scarab from it once. So I try to get these. Whereas the Currency and Scarab Delirium Orbs are no doubt better in terms of just raw output of value, they cost way more. The Foreboding Harbinger Delirium Orb is still on the very low end. It was still only, I bought all these for 20 to 30 C. Granted, I did a while back and I was able to get them in bulk because not that many people are buying it for some reason. But the cheapest ones you can get are like 20 C. And you're able to get these easily for like 25 to 30 C in bulk, which is super nice. Or single, that's fine. Two mandatory winged Scarabs, the Ambush and Divination Scarab. Winged Ambush Scarab, ultra mandatory for this strategy. Do not settle for Gilded for this. 4 extra strong boxes, absolutely worth the extra 30C, 40C that you pay for the winged level. Winged Divination Scarab, you can scrap this completely if you want to scrap the quantity strongbox modifier on your Sextant and do something else. But if you're gonna run that, you gotta run this, and then it's gonna pay for itself, no problem. Now the other 2 Scarabs are flexible. Really, you can run whatever you want. The problem with Breach is it doesn't spawn enough monsters and it's slow. The problem with Blight is it takes way too long. The problem with Metamorph is a decent other option, but it just doesn't spawn enough rares at the end and create as many. It's just not as good as these. Abyss spawns way more monsters in general, and a lot of them are rare. Harbinger is just bread and butter, good Scarab. It's just a lot for Nemesis 3. A focus on Nemesis 3 in particular. And Harbinger and Abyss are both very good for spawning beyond as well. Whereas Metamorph, obviously not. So that's that. The costs on this, I want to start getting into some of the costs here. So let me first talk about the elevated Sextants. Most people are not using elevated Sextants. And that's okay. You can just buy your own Watchstones. You can buy 3 of them easily. You could buy 1 with 8% beyond. You could buy 4 with Nemesis 3. And you can buy 1 with Monsters Are Enraged. And then you can force roll Awakened Sextants 4 times, hit unique monsters, drop corrupted item. Hey, there's no problem with that. I mean, there's actually no advantage to having this as an elevated roll. It just happened to hit it. And I'm getting to a point where I like to elevated Sextant my own Watchstones, because A, I might actually hit and get lucky and hit, but B, I have backup Watchstones, so when I miss, who cares? Not a big deal if I miss. Take a look at this. Let's say I miss. What are some of the things I can hit here? Found item, 18% pack size, 35% quantity unfound items found in unidentified maps. Still a good Sextant. Still good for doing Alcon Go or semi-juicing. could hit Nemesis 4. It would be ultra premium. Still usable items here. Unique monsters drop. I could hit a master mission. 16 uses of Alva would be sweet. You know, for other juicing. Xana, June as well. Could hit areas contain 3 additional strong boxes. That's nothing to sneeze at. Even though I already have the other mods there, 3 extra strong boxes is still not a bad mod when you're doing other forms of juicing. Here's another good one. 5% chance to corrupt items. Hit that. I actually did hit that on one of my other watchstones, and I kept the watchstone, and now I can play around with this later on. Magic pack size, not super useful. Some other mediocre ones. Now there are a few worthless ones, like the mysterious barrels and the 100 traders is actually not bad. Things with like bodyguards and extra maps and stuff, not very good. You get a 3 abyss. You might get shrine and get nothing there. But just notice that scrolling down this list, you will see that there is a greater than, much greater than 50% chance that you're going to hit at least something you can use. And one thing I want to say with this, doing what I'm doing here, is it's not about running the most lucrative strategy 100% of the time. It's about, you know, trying a variety of different things, and sometimes doing a little lighter juicing, sometimes doing a little heavier juicing. And what I want to do is I really want to at least share with you what I thought was the best juicing strategy. If you try to do the best, most lucrative juicing strategy at all times, then you are automatically foregoing other opportunities to make good use of other things. Just case in point, you know, the most lucrative juicing strategy is running Alpha. Well, then you're never going to run a June mission. You're going to have 300 June missions by the end of the season. Now, don't you think that was a bit of a waste? And you'd be right, you know. I mean, you should be running some June missions too, and sell your Aisling crafts and stuff, and the mastermind and things like that. You can use them for yourself. And so this game is balanced around doing a variety of different things. You don't have to do everything, but if you zero in too much on a very specific strategy, you're not going to come out ahead as possible. So that's one of the big reasons why I recommend elevated sextants, because you can do a kind of a variety of juicing depending on what sextants you have available on which watchstones. Legion is still good. If you have Metamorph is still good. Blight is still decent. Delirium is premium. Sacred Grove, obviously a whole nother animal. I mean, it's the most desirable mod, generally speaking. Not for juicing in particular, but as far as money making. Ritual is still good. And you might hit this funny little one. The 3 possessed monsters drop additional winged scarab. Probably not with a 50 weighting, but you might hit it. So I rolled like 10. Something like 10 sextants, and I hit 3 that I really wanted. And in this particular strategy, I must have these 4 sextants. They're super important. I can't stress this enough. I must have this one, and this one, and this one, and this one. The watchstone don't matter at all compared to the sextants here. So that out of the way, let's get into the cost. About 10 Maven Orb rolls was roughly 2x. Elevated sextants are 20 to 30x depending on the time of the season, and well, right now they're overpriced because none exist a couple days before the season ends, but they're usually somewhere between like 4 and 8 times more expensive than an awakened sextant, and generally speaking that's not a bad price. I recommend doing it. I recommend at first just buying the watchstones pre-rolled, using all 16. And then once you start feeling comfortable and you have really good watchstones for yourself, start rolling them on your watchstone. If you miss terribly, roll over it. It's not a big deal. You're probably going to hit something usable within 2 rolls. If you hit big, great. You can save it back until you have like 3 you really want, and then go for it. Do the major juicing strategy. Alright, so I did want to give you guys kind of a deep dive on the thought process behind that and how that all works. Let's get into the costs of the maps themselves. So, Precinct map, I have my own, but you know, you can get them for like 5 to 6C now a piece in bulk. And to roll beyond on it, maybe 20C on average. 20C per map on average, so I kind of justify that. These 2 Scarabs together about 100C, and these 2 Scarabs together about 10 to 20C. Basically, you're looking at about 1x right here. Between the map and the Scarabs, about 1x. So that means it's 16x. You're an investment of about roughly 16 exalts per map. Oh yeah, the Delirium Orb. I almost forgot the Delirium Orb. So that is going to pump it up a little bit higher. I'm sorry, I misspoke a little bit. The price of these two Scarabs is not 100C together. It's more like 80C or 90C maybe. So yeah, still looking at roughly about 1x. Particularly when exalts were like 150, which is their average price. Right now they're like 120 because a couple days before the season ends, but usually they're worth like 150. So suffice to say, it's about 1x there. I'm not gonna say the regular Watchstones cost anything, but you know these four did. And Booming Populace with Nemesis 3 is about 1x a piece, so that's a good 4x invested there. And I gotta say about another 2x invested in the elevated Sextants. If I had simply bought my own Sextants and Watchstones for the other two, again, you're looking at only maybe an extra 2x anyway. So whether you roll your own or you buy them, you know, the Nemesis 3 on a Booming Populace is going to be about 1x a piece. The others are going to be 1 or 2x a piece. And so I'm looking about 6x for the total investment of Sextants and this Watchstone. So that's going to be 22 exalts, basically, invested in all of this. And by the way, that's bulk pricing. Part of what I'm suggesting as this being the most lucrative strategy is I actually am taking into account the level of difficulty and efficiency necessary to get to obtain this the setup for this. One way this strategy could be reduced further or made better is if I was using let's say for example the Builder unique platinum Glencairn's Watchstone that had 1 or 2 or 3 useful modifiers that triple the weighted value. For example, the Builder with 3% more beyond. And it may be something else that's useful. That's like 3 Watchstones or 3 fraught Watchstones in 1 Watchstone. Okay, but it's not really feasible that you're going to get your hands on something like that at a reasonable price. Anyway, so I'm not counting those Watchstones, but sure, you know, in a vacuum, it would be better. I'm just looking at things that, you know, you can buy it easily. It's on the market, you know, maybe not exactly right now, but throughout the vast majority of the season, it's on the marketplace. You can buy it for a fairly cheap price. You can roll your own, and yeah, it's not too hard. And again, the actual Watchstone modifiers do not matter a huge amount here. It's not like you're trying to get full Templar Marikath emblems in New Vastir. It's not like your Chayula Breach farming. It's not like your Harvest Tier 4 chasing. You're just getting Beyond and Strongbox here. And the inherent Watchstone mods for those things in Glencairn's are not overpowered. They're not super necessary. They're not mandatory. And that's the big takeaway there. So it's easy to set up. You just got to buy the Delirium Orbs, which you can buy in bulk at 30C, 35C a piece. You got to buy the Scarabs, and you're on your way. Okay? You're basically on your way at roughly 22 to 24x. You know what? For the sake of being conservative, I said it was like 16x per map, and then about 6x for the Watchstones and Sextants. I might be undervaluing that a slight bit. So for the sake of argument, we'll say 24x, not 22x. We'll say 24x. I'll just throw an extra 2x on top of that for the notion that you're buying things at bulk prices and not trying to shave off the bottom of the trade website. And that's totally fair. I mean, I can absolutely duplicate this and get all this for 24 exalts set up the same way a month ago anyway, when stuff was easily existing on trade. Again, not right now, 2 days before the league ends. So what do I have here? I did get 2 very lucky rolls. I got Nemesis and Beyond together, which means I will get to rolls with a couple of my infused ambushes, which will be nice. Right before we put these maps in, I just want to show here, Monstrous Treasure is in the ball game. Bountiful Traps is a backup. Mixed information on whether these two inflict with one another. I was told recently that Monstrous Treasure is a higher priority, which suggests the game checks for this one to roll. If it fails, then it checks for this one to roll. If it fails, then nothing happens. So I'm going to put both prophecies in. And for the first time ever, I'm actually going to run with Excellence set up with the X per hour with the overlay. I'll see the overlay. I don't think you guys will be able to see it. Pardon me. Talking a little too much. Okay. I need to reset this here. And we're off. Put it back to scene 2 in the game. So you guys now know the synergy, you know the cost, you know the setup. Pretty easy to get all this set up throughout the middle of the season. This is essentially triple beyond. I'm expecting at least 10 Divine Orbs per map. I'm expecting at least 2 Saints Treasures per map, hopefully. Up to 1 Exalt per map. A whole lot of other currency otherwise. We're going to run Alva. I'm hoping to make somewhere between 10 and 15 Exalted Orbs of currency per hour. That is the hope. Infused Ambush with Nemesis 3 and beyond. And let's rock it. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Hit Monstrous Treasure. First one. Put that back in next. And we are off in the races. I am going to run this straight through, uncut. Internet willing me. Because I want to really demonstrate to you just how much X per hour you get doing this. Which also means I need to be fast. 1 6-link already. 2 6-link. Now those did come from chests as they're mirrored. Had to double spawn the Strongboxes for extra beyond while chasing. The winged of this thing. Oh my god, just tons of 6-links. I'm getting a little lucky getting them from the Strongboxes. At least a couple of those came from beyond bosses. But you can already see primary farming strategy is for the 6-links there. It's not actually the Nemesis 3 is actually secondary currency making strategy. And it's good to farm for more than one thing at once when you can. That makes us have a crap ton of beyond. It's hard to say whether those drop. It looks like I've already got at least like 12 6-links on this map. This may actually come out to be even more 6-links than the 27 I got once before, which would be just amazing. It appears that I have some kind of regen up against me for this map. I may have double check, maybe 60% less regen, something like that. Sure feels like it. I'm gonna have to come back pick up stuff later because I don't want to screw up a Monstrous Treasure map. More 6-links dropping up top. Ooh, teleported straight back into all that. I got the teleport disease right now from the Headhunter. Oh, what's that? Something dropped. Oh, another 6-link. So many 6-links. Oh my god, now that's actually super lucky. I hit a primal alchemic resonator from the Delirium Orb's second random spawn Delirium Orb that came off of this. You know, Harbinger, Foreboding is the primary one. I'm still figuring this out for myself. But I can clearly see that I made 94x in 5 hours. And if I take 94 divided by 5, that's 18.8. Another way to look at it is I made almost 12,000. See? Divided by 5. 2,383 chaos per hour. And yet it says up here this much per hour. So I really don't know how the programming jacked itself up on that. Now it says 96x. 96x divided by 5. 19.2. Well, that's the final number, I'm sure. 96 exalts in 5 hours. 19 exalts per hour is what I made. Or 12,112 divided by 5, 2,400 chaos per hour. 2,400 chaos divided by 150 is a more average exalt. 100 divided by 150. What? 2,100 divided by 150. Okay, 14. So with average exalt cost, it's still 14 exalts per hour. Or wait, I'm dumb. That's not right. 150. 16 exalts per hour. Still with 16 exalts per hour. So yeah, I mean that's fantastic. So I was thinking, okay, if I do this, I'm quite confident I'm gonna make somewhere between 10 and 15 exalts per hour. Now the exalt prices dropped a little bit, skewed, but even like if I unskew the exalt to chaos ratio, I still made at the very low end 16 exalts per hour. 2,400 chaos per hour. It's probably the way I should advertise this. So that is amazing. Gotta say, it worked out. It's the first time I've completed a full session like this all the way through. And yeah, I definitely don't believe the income chaos per hour number here. I'll just go by the net worth and see when I started this stream, or even reset the application, which you guys saw me do. And you can verify in the timestamps that it's right. One last look at it again. Started at 8:13, almost 8:14. Finished at 8. Well, now it says 8:15 was the last snapshot. It's 5 hours. And yeah, I can't go any earlier than that. So what's the big takeaway? The big takeaway is observing how many divine orbs I got. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 100 and... wait. 120. What? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120. 130, 140, 150, 154. 154 Divine Orbs in 16 maps. That is almost 10 Divine Orbs per map. Most of that is from Sixlings, Corrupted Sixlings. Most of those are from Beyond bosses, thanks to the Sextant that I mentioned earlier in the video. The Nemesis 3, of course, really cranked up the currency overall, including some Divine Orbs. But the big winner, of course, Exalted Orbs. I'd say probably at least 2 of my Exalted Orbs are from Exalted Shards, due to the foreboding Delirium Orb. But at any rate, I got 19 Exalted Orbs in total. That's more than 1 per map. Even with the shards, that's at least 1 per map. That's pretty nice. Saint's Treasure was the third thing we were searching for. And oh, really? Only 1 in that whole page? That can't be right. Eh? Really? I got my overlay in the way. I can't believe there's only 4 in the second tab, but anyway, this is 10, 20, 30, 4. Well, 34 is still more than 2 per map. If I did 16 maps, I got 34 Saints Treasures. That's more than 2 Saints Treasures per map. That was the goal. That was the anticipation, about 2. So I exceeded my goal in Exalt, total number of Exalts slightly. I pretty much hit exactly what I thought I'd hit on Saints Treasures. I could say exceeded slightly. And it was just a tiny bit under where I thought I would hit on Divine Orbs. So basically, everything went swimmingly, what I thought. And the result was 2,400 Chaos per hour. Or in current Exalt to Chaos currency exchange rates, 19 Exalts per hour is what that came out to. So I'm going to advertise that as such because you have no reason not to believe it. You can watch the whole video if you want. You see I never cut out anything. You can see the verification in the app afterwards that, you know, I did in fact find that much net worth and that the stream is on for that amount of time. I do not know why the income gals per hour is messed up, but that doesn't really matter because the information's all here. So thank you for watching. You know, give it a try, guys. Like next season, try Beyond, triple, quadruple, Beyond. Try Elevated Sextants. I think it definitely would be worth your time. Yeah, you can make a ton of money flipping with bots and crafting, but you can actually make a lot of currency by juicing. You really can if you just take the best of everything you learn from the other content creators and everything you've learned from your own experience and apply it. Yeah, I almost got 20x per hour. I don't even in my best crafting moments, I don't usually make 15 20x an hour crafting. I mean, considering all the sort of preparation time that goes into that, and especially like the patience that's required to wait to find a buyer and stuff. You make this currency immediately. Like the vast majority of what's listed there is easily sellable. The 3 things we've primarily farmed are absolutely super easy to sell at like 98% market value. So yeah, try this one out. The next season, I don't know what's in store for it yet, but I still think Beyond double dipping, triple, quadruple dipping beyond with Nemesis 3 and unique monsters drop corrupted items. I still think that's going to be a thing. Absolutely. With that kind of currency. No reason not to think that. So I'm going to close the stream now. So it was a long haul that was stream active for 5 hours and 50 minutes, as it says there. Appreciate you guys sticking around and taking a look at all this thing. So there's your proof. This is completely uncut. And if you have any questions, you can ask in the video comments below, whatever you want to do. Whether it's in the Twitch or YouTube in particular. Have a good night, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll be around for one more major juicing video before the season's over. See you.